At the dawn of creation, before the universe took shape, God forged a heavenly host of angels, beings of pure light and unparalleled intelligence. Among them, he has shown with special intensity Lucifer, whose name in Latin means light-bearer. He was the most beautiful, the wisest, and the most powerful of all the angels, close to God like no other. Lucifer was the master of music and intoned heavenly melodies that filled the divine realm with joy. His wisdom was profound and his beauty radiant, inspiring admiration and reverence among his fellow angels. God had conferred upon him a place of honor in his court, where he acted as counselor and confidant of the highest. However, the seed of pride began to germinate in her heart. As he contemplated his magnificence, a feeling of superiority seized Lucifer. He began questioning God's authority, believing he deserved a higher place in the heavenly hierarchy. He observed the immensity of God's power and wondered if he could not achieve such greatness. Pride clouded his judgment and blinded him to the glory he already possessed. His beauty was incomparable, with a radiant appearance that eclipsed all other angels. His resplendent wings spread majestically, and his piercing gaze reflected the greatness of his being. Lucifer was a perfection-made angel, an awe-inspiring divine creation. At a crucial moment, God summoned all the angels to reveal to them a plan he had conceived. They would create a new being, a creature made in his image and likeness, which they would call human. The angels were to serve and protect this new creation. Lucifer, blinded by his pride, openly opposed this plan. "Why should we bow down to an inferior creature?" he questioned arrogantly. "We are celestial beings, superior to any other life form. I cannot accept such humiliation." His words echoed in the far reaches of heaven, sowing doubt in the minds of some angels. Lucifer had defied the divine will, refusing to serve and proclaiming himself equal to God. The seed of rebellion had been planted in his heart. Lucifer's rebellion unleashed an unprecedented commotion in the heavens. His defiance of divine authority had fractured celestial harmony, sowing discord among the angels. Some, seduced by Lucifer's deceptive words, joined his cause while others remained faithful to God. Michael, the archangel of strength and courage, emerged as the leader of the loyal angels. His commanding presence radiated courage and boldness, and his flaming sword shone with the light of divine justice. With a powerful voice, he summoned the loyal angels to rise against the rebellion. "Brothers, Lucifer has betrayed the trust of our Creator. His pride has blinded him, and now he seeks to usurp the throne of God. We cannot allow his ambition to corrupt the perfection of the heavens." Michael's words echoed in the hearts of the loyal angels, igniting the flame of loyalty to the Most High. They formed a heavenly phalanx with Michael at their head, ready to confront Lucifer and his rebellious army. From on high, God watched with regret the coming conflict. Although his heart was saddened by Lucifer's fall, his justice was unalterable. He could not tolerate rebellion in his heavenly kingdom. On the battlefield, the angelic hosts lined up, forming two opposing sides. On one side, the angels loyal to God, resplendent with the light of truth. On the other, the rebellious forces of Lucifer, darkened by the shadow of ambition. With his seductive voice, Lucifer tried to sow doubts in the hearts of the faithful angels. Do we not deserve more than to be servants of an inferior creation? We are celestial beings, superior to every other creature. Join me, and together we shall ascend to the throne of the Most High. But Michael and his angels stood firm, rejecting Lucifer's lies. With a battle cry that shook the heavens, Michael charged the rebellious forces, initiating an epic contest. The heavenly armies clashed with a thunderous roar, unleashing an all-out battle. Angels against angels, swords of fire against spears of light, in a deadly dance that shook the foundations of the universe. The glow of combat illuminated the heavens, while the cries of victory and agony intermingled in a symphony of war. The battle raged for eons, with both sides fighting with unmatched ferocity. Lucifer and his fallen angels proved to be formidable adversaries, but the strength of Michael and the loyalty of the faithful angels prevailed. Eventually, Lucifer and his followers were defeated and expelled from heaven. In his fall, the once beautiful angel became a deformed and repulsive being, doomed to reign in the depths of hell as Satan, the prince of darkness. Cast out of heaven, Lucifer, now known as Satan, plunged into an abyss of anger and resentment. He contemplated with envy the divine creation, especially Eden, that earthly paradise where God had placed his new creatures, Adam and Eve. The beauty of Eden was indescribable, an orchard of delights where peace and harmony reigned. Adam and Eve lived in perfect communion with their Creator, enjoying the abundance and happiness untainted by sin. But Satan, consumed by envy and resentment, vowed to take revenge on God by corrupting his most precious creation, humanity. He cunningly hatched a plan to tempt Adam and Eve, sowing the seeds of disobedience in their hearts. Disguised as a serpent, the most cunning creature in Eden, Satan crept stealthily through the garden, looking for the perfect opportunity to set his deception in motion. Finally, he spotted Eve strolling alone near the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, whose fruit was forbidden by God. "Eve, child of God, why do you not taste the fruit of this tree?" hissed Satan in a seductive voice. "Do you not wish to acquire wisdom and be like gods, knowing good and evil?" Eve hesitated, tempted by the serpent's words. "God has told us that we must not eat of this tree, or we will die." Satan laughed derisively. "You will not die. God only fears that you will acquire his knowledge. Taste the fruit and your eyes will be opened. You will be like him." Seduced by the promise of wisdom, Eve reached out her hand and plucked the forbidden fruit. After taking a bite, her eyes were opened, and for the first time, she experienced the shame of her nakedness. Convinced by Eve, Adam also ate the fruit, thus disobeying the divine command. At that instant, sin entered the world, staining the perfection of Eden. Adam and Eve, ashamed, tried to cover themselves with fig leaves when they heard God's voice approaching. When God confronted them for their disobedience, Adam blamed Eve, and she blamed the serpent. God, in his wisdom, understood Satan's deception and pronounced his judgment on each. To the serpent, he said, "You will be cursed among all the animals and crawl on your belly. I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your offspring and hers. She will crush your head, and you will bruise her heel." To Eve, he warned, "I will multiply your pains in pregnancy, and you will give birth in pain. Your desire will drive you to your husband, and he will rule over you." To Adam, he said, "Because you have listened to the voice of your wife and disobeyed my command, the earth will be cursed because of you. In pain you shall take your food from it. You shall eat of the fruit of the ground in the sweat of your brow until you return to the dust, for out of it you were formed." Thus, God expelled Adam and Eve from Eden, placing a cherubim with a flaming sword to guard the way to the tree of life. Mankind had fallen into sin, and Satan had succeeded in his task of corrupting the divine creation. After his victory in Eden, Satan gloated in his triumph. He had succeeded in corrupting the divine creation, sowing the seed of sin in mankind. However, his thirst for vengeance against God had not been quenched. From the dark depths of hell, Satan established his reign as ruler of darkness. There, he ruled over a realm of eternal suffering, where the damned atoned for their sins in endless torment. Despite his fall, Satan retained some of his former greatness and power, which made him a formidable foe. His cunning and intelligence had sharpened, making him a master of deception and manipulation. With a sinister smile, Satan contemplated the world God had created, seeking opportunities to sow discord and rebellion in the hearts of men. His goal was to thwart God's plans and lead mankind away from the path of salvation. Throughout the centuries, Satan became the great adversary of God and humanity. Always on the prowl, he sought to sow doubt and distrust in the hearts of believers, trying to lead them away from the path of truth. Although God warned men of the dangers of Satan's temptations, many succumbed to his wiles. The Prince of Darkness rejoiced in every soul that fell into his trap, feeding his hatred of the divine creation. However, God never abandoned his people. Through prophets and messengers, he reminded them of the promise of redemption and the final defeat of Satan. For though powerful, the Lord of Darkness was not invincible. His reign of terror would come to an end, and light would overcome darkness. Over the centuries, the struggle between God and Satan intensified. The Prince of Darkness would not relent in his efforts to corrupt mankind and thwart God's plans. However, the scriptures had prophesied that a day would come when evil would be definitively defeated. God, in his infinite mercy, sent his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ, to redeem mankind from sin and defeat Satan. From his birth in a humble manger to his ministry on earth, Jesus faced constant temptations and attacks from the evil one. In the wilderness, Satan tried to seduce Jesus with promises of earthly power and riches, but the Son of God steadfastly resisted. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God, Jesus replied, rejecting the temptations of the enemy. Throughout his life, Jesus cast out demons and delivered many from the evil influence of Satan. His teachings and miracles demonstrated God's power over the forces of evil. Finally, the climax came when Jesus was crucified on Calvary. In agony, he cried out, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit." And with those words, he breathed his last breath. Satan thought he had triumphed, but his victory was short-lived. 3 days later, Jesus rose from the dead, conquering death and sin. His sacrifice had redeemed mankind and opened the gates of heaven for all who would believe in him. "Rejoice, brethren," proclaimed Jesus to his disciples. "I have overcome the world and the prince of darkness. Satan has been defeated and his reign of terror will come to an end." Since then, Satan has continued his desperate struggle against God and mankind, but his defeat is inevitable. The scriptures prophesy that, in the last days, there will be a final battle between the forces of good and evil. At that decisive moment, Jesus will return in glory to establish his eternal kingdom. A mighty angel will descend from heaven and put Satan in chains, casting him into the abyss for 1,000 years. After that period, Satan will be released for a brief time to make one last attempt at rebellion. He will gather his hosts and march against the holy city, but fire from heaven will descend upon them and devour them. Then Satan will be cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where he will suffer torment day and night forever and ever. His reign of terror will have come to an end. "Hallelujah!" the redeemed will exclaim. "The Lord God Almighty reigns. Evil has been vanquished, and righteousness will prevail for all eternity." God will then establish a new heaven and a new earth, where peace and harmony will reign. Mankind, free from Satan's corrupting influence, will live in perfect communion with their Creator, enjoying the promised eternal happiness. This video has been created for Labyrinth of Crete. Thank you for joining us in this exciting adventure. See you the next time.